Namaste, this is Ayesha, and this is my predictions video, the first time that I have come forward on my YouTube channel to speak about the year 2020, which we're facing, and what more can we expect. Now, I'm sure that we all are very much aware, considering that this is unlike any other year that we have faced as a civilization. This is one of the, well, the drama queen of our ages. And 2020 has been phenomenal in intensity. It's been phenomenal in the events that have occurred around us and continue in different parts of the world, as well as collectively and individually, the way we have been responding to the situations. So there are a lot of claims. There are a lot of people saying all kinds of things. But at the end of the day, what we must keep our eyes focused on is the divine plan above all, which is what we're here for, to contribute to evolution, to contribute to the one consciousness, to contribute to the great cosmos. So to have a deeper understanding of what lies ahead for us, I am going to be sharing, now this is not something that I just came up with today. This has been something that I actually wrote out, and I'm going to be reading out based on the points to ensure that I do not leave anything out, because I feel that this information is very important for all of us. And so I'm going to start sharing what I have written down about what we can all expect in 2020 and from now on. Now, the first thing that we have already noticed, and probably wasn't something that we started noticing only this year, was the climate changes. The climate changes, as they started calling it, the global warming, started many years ago. And despite the many warnings that have been put out by several organizations, conservationists, many different kinds of communities, the world at large has not really been paying much attention, because we always thought nature would find a way, or a lot of us thought so. Now, we have seen the extreme weather conditions that have affected our world, over the years, and still do. And what I can tell you is that this is just the beginning of these extreme weather conditions. So we can expect to feel much more intense vibration from across the world. 2020 will definitely have a huge impact as far as the weather conditions are concerned around the world. Now, in one way, as when we have all experienced widely, is when the global warming improved. There was a lot of things that improved while we all were under lockdown, when the world was stepping back, when humanity basically stepped back and nature was able to gradually, slowly reset itself. And there were a lot of positive changes that have occurred in the environment, which even the other species have recognized. And we have witnessed across the world over the videos and social media and everywhere where animals have started venturing out into the cities, and so these were positive signs that most of us would accept happened while we were all under lockdown. Now, understandably, some of the countries, including India, have released the lockdowns, and therefore people are back on the streets. And how is this going to basically affect nature? How is this going to change anything for us in 2020? Now, as far as the pandemic is concerned, because that's the primary thing that we have started this new year with, the pandemic is not going to go away. All right? It's not going to go away. Mainly because this was not meant to go away. This is going to be there for a few years. From what I'm picking up intuitively, this is going to be around for a few years. There will not be any potential potentially effective vaccine that will be available, and most of the times it will be something that we will all, as a world, learn to live with. But coronavirus is not going to be the only thing that will affect us as far as the environment is concerned, as far as health concerns are concerned. Okay? Now, the first thing that I've written over here is nature is trying to reset. So humanity steps back. And in order for that to happen, I believe there will be events to see, because this is where Gaia is trying to reset itself. Now, humanity, as we know, we have been polluting the lands and the seas. We have been putting out too much of toxicity into the environment, shifting the entire vibration, and evolution has definitely been affected by this, and therefore nature has taken things into its own hands to restore itself. It would not be able to do it completely, but there will be many events that will follow this year and the years ahead that will allow this to happen. Now, the climate changes will bring about many differences in the way we live, in the way we would like to stay away, or we will have to stay away from being outdoors as much as we always have been. So life basically will never be normal based on what we were living. So if you're looking for life to get back to normal as to how it was now, I'm afraid to say that that will never happen. And in a way it's good, because I believe that humanity needs to wake up to a new beginning, a new dawn, so to speak, a new era. And this is where we start, 2020. I do not know, there were so many other claims of this being the end of the year, end of the world, and apocalyptic messages all over the place. There's a lot of unrest and restlessness, and there's a lot of confusion and panic and fear around the world. Now, this message is not meant to do that, but I do not wish to hide the truth, because as I said, this is the predictions for 2020, and I feel that we should all pay attention to this. Now, the last time I did a message did put out a message about cults, specifically, on my Facebook page. Many of you agreed that over the months, those cults-like activities have emerged. And there have been losses of lives. There still is a lot of chaos in some parts of the world today. So today I'm going to be speaking about, on a grand scale, what can we expect from now towards the rest of the maybe the next few years or so. All right. Now we can expect there will be definitely a need for population to decrease, because that is one of the prime concerns, not of the governments. Now, if all of you are going to sit there and say, oh, we know this is a plan by the governments, well, let's just look above. Like I said, this particular video is not for you to keep pointing fingers at governments or individuals or communities. This is to ensure that we all pay attention and rise above the situation to see the divine plan. There is always and there has always been a divine bigger picture behind everything that has happened in our history. So what can we expect? Now, less population, yes, lesser population. What would mean by lesser population? Yes, we have been seeing losses of lives, and I do believe that we will see many more events that will cause more loss of lives. So the best thing to do would be to be self-sufficient and be careful of your loved ones and yourself. If you're going to be ignoring or to be too busy over some theories that you read, that is not going to help you, or anyone for that matter. So the best thing to do would be to look out for each other, to be concerned about people around you, your community, your society, your family, your friends, everybody around you, and even those strangers out in the streets who may need to be protected from a lot of things that you probably are immune to. That does not mean that you ignore any of it. All right? So that also means more resources. What is the positive aspect of there being a less population, obviously it would mean that we will all have more resources. All right. Now, self-sufficient individuals will obviously find this an easier path to deal with, where you do not have to go out there and depend on others for your survival. By this, you will know what it means. Individually, it would mean differently for each one of us. We will be able to cope differently, with a different lifestyle, with a different plan, a different concept, a different reality than what we have been used to. So what would we need to do to accept this as a part of the new reality? Well, you simply need to be able to change your perception. A perception that we have never thought we would come across in this generation, but we have. So who decides all of this? Why now? Well, it had to happen now, because as a civilization, as people on this planet, we have stepped a bit too far than we should. And so the dimensional councils, the interdimensional councils on the other side, had to put their foot down and help humanity, help all of us here, to understand this from a much different angle, to accept the change now than later. Okay? Well, the other thing that I've written down that I felt when I was meditating over this was where I saw boundaries opening in countries. So immigration laws will be more relaxed from 2021. Right. Now, once this pandemic has subsided, we will notice that because of the many economy issues worldwide that many countries would have faced by then, would require that they come together. Instead of building walls, we will be coming together. So the relaxed immigration rules and laws will enable us to travel to other countries, to be able to do so much more together as a global family than as just continents or countries. Okay? And that basically eradicates the economic collapse. Now, again, I do see that this would not completely eliminate us of the political tensions between certain countries. I do see there being, or I feel there will be biological wars. I do see there being biological and environmental inflictions on different continents. So this, as I said, the pandemic that we're going through, some of us are calling it man-made, whatever be it, this would not be the first episode. I mean, this would not be the only episode. This is just the first episode. It's like we're staring basically at the tip of the iceberg. We're staring at the tip of the iceberg. We're not seeing the entire situation as yet. Okay? So the next thing that I see is I do feel that on an individual level, there will be many different kinds of reactions to everything that is unfolding or yet to unfold. So 2020 will bring a lot of changes to our communities, to our lifestyles. For instance, educational institutions, we will be looking for different ways of educating our children other than the conventional ways that we're used to. So educational institutions and corporates will look for alternative, safer ways of functioning. Probably using online educational systems. Corporates may decide to go support more of the working from home concepts. So there will be a lot of changes that I also feel. And these changes will obviously improve the environment because less traffic and less humans out there would once again mean less pollution, would also mean that nature would be able to breathe again more, and this would improve things. But of course, we as a civilization may not be too happy with it. We would feel like caged prisoners, and there will be, as we already have been facing, there will be many who will resist that, thinking that it's a form of control. But actually, those who fight the system will find out after a point of time that it was not even required, that to accept the change gracefully did not mean that we hand over our power to someone else. It simply means that we need to allow nature, the divine pattern, to take place in order for the shift to happen. So there will be conflicts between people and governments who will not inevitably clash, inevitably have many issues. So you see, this is like an ongoing cycle where nature takes over. Every time there is a clash, nature takes over, resets, and then we'll go back to it, and then people start again. So I see that 2020, what we have been going through and what we will go through, is just going to be a repetitive cycle. And this repetitive cycle will keep purging and purging and purging and flushing out the toxic energy and the souls that do not fall under the evolution system. So this will be a natural form of resetting for nature, for the universe, for the one consciousness. So yes, we will have less people, but we will also have more resources to work with. We would be drawing ourselves back to nature. The basics, the simple lifestyles that our predecessors, our ancestors, many generations ago used to enjoy before this complicated materialistic world took over. Technology will improve because that will become the only source that will keep all of us together while we are all facing different sections and different series of issues around the world. So you can expect that. So political-wise, now, we understand, we are pretty much, most of us, at least those who watch the news or you don't, you're still pretty much aware somehow of the political influences in different countries and across the world. Now, political leaders, over the next 2-3 years, the most powerful nations will not be as powerful. Those who have been wanting to be powerful will find some kind of power, but it would not be something that is widely accepted. I do see, however, that on the greater level, communities will thrive or begin to work together. People will long for more of communities than to be governed. So governed people, those who still fall under the system, will seem to separate themselves from those who prefer the community lifestyles. Communities will thrive over time because each community will consist of like-minded people who will come together to form their own little concepts. And these concepts will be such simplified, natural concepts that will be much more peaceful than the ones of the government, and therefore losing a large number of each nation would cause monetary and moral support. They will lack that, and they will fight for it. So there will be once again the war between people, the public and the governments, and which I feel the governments would lose out. That's what I'm seeing. See, so there generally across the world there will be so many issues. All right, there will be political issues within people. There will be this fight with nature, and I do not see that 2020 will be the only year that we will be going through these events. In fact, it's just opened the huge gateway that will shift humanity to a totally different realm. Yes, it would be beautiful on the other side, I can assure you of that. Like many of the spiritualists have said, that we do see that it will be a new dawn, it will be a 5D concept, it will be so much better. It will be the dream that we all had. But it would not get better before it gets worse. And the phase that will take us there will definitely affect every one of us in different ways, unless you keep your vibration high, unless you understand and accept this as a part of the whole cycle of evolution. So it will take a lot out of each one of us, no matter how evolved we are. It will affect us. Do not hide from it. Do not ignore what is before you. Accept it all. And work together as communities. Come together as communities, not to keep pointing fingers, not to just pass around love and light, but to productively work towards concepts that would improve our new format of living. Everything from food to education, to everything. What can we do together as communities? Because communities, as I said, will thrive. Governments of any kind that now stay in power will collapse. And I'm talking about mainly the superpowers, the first world countries. I do see a lot of them going through a lot of unrest over the next few years. And as far as infrastructures across the world are concerned, well, I do see that the need to stay in concrete jungles will decrease. More of us will be drawn more towards nature, isolation, staying in safer areas where there are not too many people. And that will rise. So we will see more of nature. There will be demolitions of, a lot of these concrete jungles across the world will be demolished, and I believe there will be a lot of conservationists who will step in and help to revive the greenery of the planet, to turn this more into a greener planet than it has been in many decades. So we will see the shift of the lands, the energy. So you see, this, by the time these communities thrive and these concrete jungles are replaced by greener concepts of living, I feel that this would take another 10 years for the entire process from now to then. So between 2020 and 2023, we will be witnessing this huge process of purging by the planet. Unfortunately, this also means there will be a lot of losses of lives. But please be consoled, as I'm speaking for myself as well. We have to console ourselves, knowing that nothing is a surprise to any of us. All our souls have come here knowing that this is all going to happen, and this will be a part of our missions here. So there are no surprises. See, the shifts that we are going through and will go through will affect the vibration of our world greatly. And this, in fact, will not really settle well with a lot of us. As we already see that the intense shifts have affected many, especially the more sensitive souls. The sensitive people are starting to find it very difficult to cope in this world already, and we're just in the tip of it. There's still a lot more to come. So it won't always be a loss of life based on events. Many will want to exit on their own. So you can expect to see a rise in suicides. You can expect to see a rise in those who wish to leave the plane. That will be, see, the other thing that I wanted to say was the veils between dimensions, as the shift progresses, will get much thinner than it has been in the last 2 generations. And it's already begin. Many have started to see more of activities in the spirit world here, much clearer than they have in many, many years. And so have I, and therefore I like to say that, yes, you can expect more of that. And that means that this will make interdimensional astral travel, astral projection, all of that much easier. And there will be individuals too who will actually progress and move forward through meditation, a lot of other activities that are spiritual, highly dense spiritual activities that will enable them to move forward into the next plane. So you can expect a lot of changes, and I want you to expect a lot of changes. See, at the end of this, there is light at the end of this tunnel. It may seem very grim right now with a lot of tension, confusion, and fears and anger, restlessness. But with it comes a silence. When you silence your mind from all of this during meditation or any activity that silences you, you can feel the peace, because that peace comes from above all of this, and that is what I want you all to focus on, the peace above all of this, and that's what's going to keep us all grounded. So I hope this prediction for 2020 will help you to move along in as graceful a manner as you can. We're all in this together. You're never going to be alone in this. It is actually an honor to be alive, to be here on this divine mission during this very historical, very intense shift. I take this as a great honor to be here to serve, because this will be a very, very complex shift for all of humanity. Those who stand or remain standing will be the ones who keep their vibrations high, who are focused more on the solutions, focused more on healing others, focused more on the future, focused more on the divine plan. They're the ones who are going to make it and help others. So do not judge those who are going through difficult situations now. People are reacting to this in different ways. Unfortunately, as I have mentioned before, there are some who prefer to, look at the how do you say this? Who prefer to look at the dense 3D blaming concepts, blame the government, blame this, blame that. They're wasting the energy. They really are. But these conspiracy theories themselves were generated systems to lure those who would fall into it. So rise above everything, please, because at some point, none of these conspiracy theories are going to save anyone, because this isn't a fight with another person face to face. This is the shift of the universe. You cannot fight with the universe. This is how it's going to be unfolding no matter what we do. So the only thing we can do is accept this gracefully and move along with the flow. It is very important that each one of us contributes to this in the most positive manner, that we can think of. Thank you so much. And as I said, 2020, from now to August, this pandemic will be around. The most intense period, the second wave as they call it in many countries, will begin from now. And it will go on as intensely as we can probably imagine, or beyond that, till about December this year. And after that will be many other events. But in between now and December, we can expect some celestial events that could involve extraterrestrials, that could involve events that are pretty unexpected, like asteroids. We can expect those. Communications and contacts from other dimensions would also be more prominent. And there will be a lot of issues that were not clarified between governments that will come into the fore. There will be a lot of realizations and opening of gateways and doors between dimensions that will also happen from August this year to all the way to summer. That's June or July for us. You can expect that. By 2024, we can expect a massive change from what we are sitting on right now to where we will be. Most of it will be painful to accept, but will be a reality which we will learn to cope with, learn to understand, learn to shift. I thank you all for being so patient and watching this video. Please share this information because it will be important. Please stay safe with your families. Understand that this shift is a divine pattern and not a man-made one. Whatever has been happening in our civilization, in our world over ages, has never been just a man-made plan. There has to be some cause for an effect to take place. So to blame it on people is not going to help. We need to be more solution-oriented, not be on a blaming circle. I hope you understand this. There is a bigger, much bigger divine plan behind everything that we have faced and will be facing. So keep your prayers growing. Keep your vibration high. This is a time to step up on your spiritual practices. Be there for one another. And above all, pray for those souls who will be leaving, for there will be many. Countless, unfortunately. But they have all signed up for this, as so have we. And we can only pray for each other in the hope that we will find our grace no matter where we choose to be. Namaste. Thank you so much.